There's a couple ways that I've been told to know that in the past. One of them is one of my youth pastors a long time ago just told me, well, if it sounds smarter than you, it might be God. But obviously, there's a lot of people that are very close to me, and when I'm walking through the church building and someone calls out my name, they say, "Hey, Jonah," I can recognize it and turn around, and
Hmm.
before I even see them, I'm like, "That's Josh, or that's Nathan Moore, or that's Jonathan Toady," something like that. Same thing with God. When God tells you something, if you have spent time in His Word and have spent time understanding and learning what His voice sounds like, when He
Hmm.
tells you something, it's going to be easier to say, "That's not noise. That's not the
Hmm.
world. That's not me. That's God." So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. And so really, I think when you are so, involved and so immersed in God's word,
hmm
it'd be easier to understand and distinguish his voice. And,
right.
the Bible talks about a sheep know my voice and a stranger they will not follow.
hmm
Come on.
That's
And
right.
so if you are a true sheep of God, if the Lord is your true shepherd, a stranger, you will not follow them. A
That's
stranger,
right.
you won't say, who called me? Because that's not the one who's leading you. And so, so are you being a sheep who has turned up the gain of your shepherd's voice? Ha! Right? Or have you turned down his voice and turned up the voice of culture, turned up the voice of social media, turned up the voice of Facebook, right?
hmm
So
Yeah.
it's all about really just whose voice are you gonna listen to? That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Whose voice will you listen to, right?
Yeah, and there's always going to be a voice to listen to.
Yeah.
If you're not intentional about trying to hear the voice of God, and if you're not intentional about learning how to hear the voice of God, spending
Yep.
time with Him, reading His Word, knowing, okay, what is God telling me? What does it sound like? You're gonna pick up on something else, and I think that's how people start to drift so slowly, and they don't even notice it. Is they
Ye-
start to listen to these other things, and they just get less intentional, and by the time they notice it, it's so far gone. It's been so long, and it's harder to get back in that case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.